Elizabeth Taylor, one of the most notorious actresses of her time. She's been in all sorts of movies, and she was also a very big fan of her beauty products. She also released her own range of fragrances and perfumes. In this episode, I'm going to be showing you guys and reviewing one of those fragrances. It's a fragrance for men, though she didn't actually release many fragrances for men. I believe this was the only men's fragrance of her release, because it is technically a male version of this. And the fragrance I'm going to show you is Passion for Men. This fragrance was released in 1989, so it was towards the end of the 80s, and it's classified as an amber fougere. Now, this is really a fragrance that I absolutely love because of the fact that it actually resembles one of my favorite fragrances from the 1980s. This fragrance to me is amazing. I've had it in my collection 3 or 4 times. This is my 4th bottle because of the fact that I just love it so much. It's a fragrance that really develops, lasts actually a decent amount of time. And even though it was released in the 1980s, the fact that it's still being made is pretty incredible. Now, I have no idea who the perfumer is behind this fragrance. All I know is the notes and how it develops. That's literally all the information that we have on this fragrance. But what I can tell you is the fact that I own the original counterpart, which is Passion. This is a fragrance for women, by the way. This is actually an amazing fragrance. Now, as you guys know, I actually do dwell into quite a few female fragrances. I haven't reviewed a female fragrance in a long time, because I've been, really dwelling onto the men's fragrances. Not for any reason, but just because of the fact that I own more men's fragrances than I do female fragrances. This fragrance is amazing. It's very, very narcotic, very heavy floral, but there's tons of animalic notes in here. So it's very, very old school, but I just love it for how deep and sensual this fragrance is. It's incredible. And the male version, which of course we're going to be talking about in this video, is really no different, although with it being a masculine fragrance, it's a little bit different, of course. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when you spray it. The spray is actually not too bad, although the presentation could be a little bit better. I don't really like the atomizer on this. However, when you look at the female version, it looks a little bit better, you know what I mean? A bit classier, a bit more polished. Whereas this one, it does look cheap, in all fairness, but gets the job done. The juice inside is beautiful. I mean, this bottle itself is purple. When you shine it in light, you can literally see through it. And the juice itself is like a really deep purple. It looks purple, but I'm guessing it'll be like a golden color if you were to put it in like an atomizer or like a sample or something like that. But this fragrance is really incredible. Now let's get down to the review. Now I'm going to put the notes on the screen for you guys so that you'll know exactly what is in it, and I'll read the notes out for you right now. So the top notes for Passion for Men by Elizabeth Taylor, we get lavender, fruity notes, bergamot, neroli, orange, galbanum, and lemon. In the middle we get cinnamon, carnation, sandalwood, nutmeg, patchouli, cedarwood, balsam fir, jasmine, and geranium. Ton of notes in here, guys. In the base we get vanilla, styrax, benzoin, tonka bean, oak moss, amber, musk, and vetiver. So there's a ton of notes in this fragrance. I mean, it's really hard to really pick which notes you get first, but there is one note that's really standing out for me, and that is, of course, the lavender note. Now, lavender, I've said this in my last review, it's a note that I can really appreciate now, and in this, absolutely stunning. For it being a cheap fragrance, and I'm sure it didn't cost a lot to make this, for it being a really cheap scent as it is, this is a very, very nice fragrance in terms of its lavender opening. But there is a lot more going on. There's a little bit of a citrus going on with that lemon, orange, and bergamot, and including the neroli, but that's of course a floral. The fruity notes, I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. Whenever I say fruity notes in a fragrance pyramid, I tend to think, well, what does that even mean? But when I'm smelling it right here, I am getting a kind of fruity concoction, mainly orange in all fairness. It's like an orange and lavender mixed with this, again, like a fruit bundle. It's really hard to really detect what kind of fruity notes I'm getting, but if I had to guess, I'd say that the orange was fairly strong in here, but the lavender is absolutely stunning. So guys, lavender is one of the keynotes in this fragrance. And the fragrance really doesn't start to change once it's been on your skin for about 10 minutes. Once the 10 minutes are up, the fragrance starts to get a little bit more interesting. It gets a little bit spicy, gets a little bit rose-like, if you like, and you start to get a little bit of like a vanilla nuance coming through. So I definitely get a cinnamon. The cinnamon in this is beautiful. It's like a toasted cinnamon sort of smell. The carnation also is absolutely stunning in this. It's definitely giving me that rose type of scent. We also get nutmeg in this, which is very, very pleasant. Although it could be a little bit stronger for my liking, because I do enjoy the note of nutmeg a lot. And as for the other notes, I don't really get them. So patchouli, I suppose there's a little bit of a patchouli going on, because, you know, patchouli oil in fragrance can be very, very strong. So I do tend to get it. But in terms of the other notes, like the cedar, the balsam fir, the jasmine and the geranium, I don't actually get a lot of it. But the base notes are very, very nice. There's a lot of the base notes which are very, very strong. And with this fragrance, once you spray it, it lasts on my skin for a good 5 to 6 hours. It isn't entirely nuclear strength, but it does have a very decent scent life. For the money that you pay for this fragrance, it is very cheap. And it's very, very decent on its scent life, in all fairness. In fact, 5 to 6 hours really is the average for an eau de toilette. So, and the base notes are just absolutely divine. You know, you really do definitely get that vanilla. You get this amber quality as well, so there's definitely the note of amber, but you do get the benzoin. You do get this absolutely stunning styrax note, and not to mention the tonka. So there's just a ton of creaminess in the dry down. It's almost like if you took a vanilla and just added loads of amber with it, along with an absolutely outrageous oak moss. Now, of course, oak moss, you don't tend to use a lot of oak moss in fragrances, like perfumers, I mean, because it's such a strong ingredient, and just a tiny bit of oak moss can go a long way. And it just so happens to be the case with Passion for Men. This is, of course, an 80s fragrance, so the mossiness is without a doubt there. And another thing I'd like to add, guys, is that this fragrance smells incredibly like Calvin Klein Obsession for Men. I wouldn't say it was a clone of Obsession for Men. I mean, this happens to be one of my favorites from the 80s. I just love how ambery it is. I love the cinnamon in it. But Passion for Men does have a bit of an obsession character about it. It's warm, it's ambery, it's cinnamon. So, you know, all the notes are there. Still, though, an incredible fragrance. Now, this, of course, is a fragrance that I've already reviewed on my channel many, many years ago when I first started. But you guys will see me reviewing a lot of old fragrances from previous videos on my channel, because I want to sort of repolish my reviews and, you know, give an update on them. It's just a lovely scent, guys. I would highly, highly recommend that you guys check this out. It's the fact that it's so cheap in price makes it a great fragrance. It's certainly something that you need to give a chance to. I think when you first spray it, it can come across a little bit, nah. The dry down is incredible, though. I love the lavender in the opening, but you guys might not think it's that good. I think it's amazing. It's the same with that orange. The fruity notes, again, I know I've said this before. I don't know what that is supposed to mean. There's nothing else fruity in the opening apart from this orange. The mid, again, with that cinnamon and the carnation, is absolutely stunning. A little bit of nutmeg also, divine. And as the fragrance is drying down, all of the notes in the base you pretty much get. So you get the vanilla, you get the styrax, benzoin, tonka, oak moss, amber, musk. That's all I'm going to say. So thanks all so much for watching my review on Passion for Men by Elizabeth Taylor. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think of this fragrance and the review. And I will see you all in the next video. Keep smelling good. Bye for now.